This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center on a Sunday afternoon. We're tracking a severe thunderstorm warning now in play for parts of the area. Had one earlier. It was right on the edge of the viewing circle, and I didn't see enough there in our wind products to come on with it. But this looks a little bit more organized in terms of that wind potential that could be coming down toward the surface as we're looking toward parts of Baker, Early, and Miller counties in southwestern Georgia. So let's go ahead and zoom on in right now. Let's switch to our other source. You'll see what I'm talking about here. You see the lightning potential here really evolving now. You're seeing more of those strikes there, some of those cloud to ground strikes. So we got to be really careful here as we get toward this area. We have quite a bit of wind potential here across this region. I know as I bagged this up, it seemed like right around Blakely we saw enough organization for the warning to get issued, and we still have that as it progresses here now in toward these areas. Just seeing this warning issued in the last 5 to 10 minutes in toward parts of Early, Miller, and Baker counties in Georgia. And that warning goes until about 1:15. So we could be watching that wind threat there toward communities like Colquitt, Blakely, Ashford, Columbia, Douglasville, Centerville, Gordon, Damascus, Ivy's Mill, Mayhaw, Rock Hill, as well as Early County Airport, the Farley Nuclear Plant, Hintown, Hilton, Rowena, Howard's Mill, Crestview, Cuba, and Killarney there. So we'll just continue to watch this thread over the next little bit. Just continue to monitor the progress of the situation here. You can see some of the yellows showing up here. That's indicative of winds close to 60, and we're at a better angle. I know the other storm we were watching earlier to the north, toward part of Lee County and some of those up in that range, we were kind of at a little bit harder spot on the radar to see it, but this is a little bit closer. I mean, it's more likely that these winds are getting down to the surface. When I'm talking about this little pixel right here, this is showing winds close to 60 miles an hour. So we'll go ahead and see what's going on here. See if this is reaching, see if we get any damage reports here. That's just to the east of Friar Road. So we have some more of these winds here close to 50 miles an hour. So we're up near, looks like Sheffield Mill Road. So again, we'll just continue to watch the progress of this stuff over the next little bit. Again, we're tracking this severe thunderstorm warning and put us of another one in toward the Florida Panhandle here outside of our counties for now, but there's even some weak rotation with this area here that we're watching. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Jackson, Holmes, and Washington counties until 12:30. Of course, we're now in daylight time again, by the way, but this is in the central zone. The storm to the east here, of course, in the eastern zone here as it moves out of Alabama, includes a little bit of Houston County, Alabama as well, and of course, they're an hour behind, and that means it only goes to 12:15 technically for them, but some of the worst is already kind of pushing into Georgia with that here at this point. But we're continuing to watch the progress of this stuff. I know this accident here could be something to watch toward Bainbridge later on. A possibility that that could be kind of moving in that general direction here. We'll have to see how much instability we have here with this setup. I know we're getting some of that. I know toward Dothan, though, they've kind of had more of a suppressed atmosphere here because this accident kind of moved through a little bit quicker than we were anticipating. So, again, we're going to keep watching things. There's still some energy up there, though, but at least for a little bit, it's going to be kind of suppressed there. A little bit less potential in that region, so it could have some more effects on the forecast here down the line later on, even. So we'll continue to watch, but you see temperatures here 80 degrees toward Tallahassee, 82 there toward Cecil Field and Jacksonville. So this air mass is a little bit conducive here for some severe weather in these areas, especially they get a little bit warmer here on the board, or they have gotten a little bit warmer. So we'll continue to watch. I mean, that's not an end-all be-all thing here. Or if we get warm or that hot, I mean, or if we don't, would that mitigate the threat completely? But you can see here that yellow area, that's a slight risk of severe weather on the board. 2 out of 5 concerned from the Storm Prediction Center there in Norman, Oklahoma. You see that includes Lake City up toward Nassau County and all points toward the north and west, pretty much within a covered area. I know as we get toward Quitman County, it kind of is a little bit lower there. As again, some of the air mass has been worked over a little bit more up there, but You can see our tornado threat here is at 5%, which sometimes is enough for a tornado watch, but right now there's some uncertainty with the forecast here and just with the overall setup here at the time, and so we don't have a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch in play yet, and the mesoscale discussion has expired on that for the time being, so nothing necessarily imminent, but it could definitely come down. They could go ahead and decide to issue it if they're seeing these winds reaching on down to the surface. There's your hail potential, 15% there. And then your wind potential, we may end up seeing that hail potential mitigated a little bit here. We'll see. It's kind of hard to say at this point, but just so far we haven't seen a lot of that showing up on our sources in terms of anything too big, because what we're getting is more of that hail there that's under the severe limits. This warning's for the wind potential right now here. Definitely seeing that wind potential rise up towards 60 miles an hour right there near Macedonia Church Road. Just have to be really watching that potential there. This could be headed there right along that early Miller line to see how that movement is. It's kind of going a little bit, it looks like a little bit south, but mainly east here with it. So kind of trying to track along that county line though for the time being here between Early and Miller. So again, that's why we're on the air right now, because we're seeing that pretty high indicator of some damaging winds. Once you get over 50 miles an hour, that's when we have that damaging wind potential here. So there's your yellow area. That's indicating that here right now. Again, severe thunderstorm warning to 115 for some of these areas. It's a pretty rural zone except for Blakely there and Colquitt, but still we're getting this potential in there. We want folks to stay safe. You're seeing now, as I go and put my mouse back in here, you're seeing this one area here, 59 mile an hour winds possibly reaching down to the surface. We're only looking at 2,000 feet up, and then another area here about 2,000 feet up. We're getting to about 57 miles an hour here on the winds. So again, you're going to keep watching things very carefully here this afternoon. Keep monitoring the situation. Make sure you guys know exactly what is going on here in the Weather Center. So just trying to make sure you guys have an idea here on exactly what is happening with all these different storms. In fact, let me go ahead and go back over to the broad perspective now, and just to remind you of our severe thunderstorm warning safety tips whenever thunder roars. I mean, that applies to all thunderstorms here. You want to go indoors, but then seek shelter inside a sturdy building and stay away from those windows. So just keep that in mind. Now, we got to be kind of careful because we on Friday, unfortunately, had a tragedy occur toward Tallahassee there in Leon County. A teenager lost her life when a tree ended up falling there. We just had trees falling there in that region, and it's just so tragic. So we got to be really careful. That was just from damaging wind potential coming into play. I know we've turned our logo red for this threat now because we're seeing enough of a potential for a more area-wide risk there. Even some tornadoes not out of the question. So with people having those outdoor events, we wanted to be kind of just on the leading edge of things here per se, and making sure you guys understand what's going on. But I emphasized this early this morning in a post in the overnight hours, really, that the threat should hold off for Stark and the Bradford Fair, Bradford County Fair, Gator Nationals, and the Players Golf Tournament, Players Golf Championship in Ponte Vedra Beach until more toward the evening hours. So that's something to keep in mind, and that's some good news. But as outdoor events toward the north and west, any of them that you may have could be impacted, and some of them are being impacted if they're taking place right now toward parts of Baker, Early, and Miller counties. So again, keep that in mind. That BPOS is an update from the Weather Service, continuing the warning here. So we're just continuing to watch things very carefully. I know the timing is a little bit different because these storms are moving a little bit faster, but right now things should still hold off. But let me go ahead and give you guys an update on that warning statement here. The latest from the office in Tallahassee. They did include now a tornado possible tag on this storm line here as well. So just a little bit below tornado warning limits. So we'll keep that in the back of our mind here as we continue to watch at 12:55 Eastern. Severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Blakely to about 13 miles northwest of Colquitt to 7 miles southeast of Columbia, moving east at about 40 miles an hour. So Colquitt, Blakely, Ashford, Douglasville, Centerville, Gordon, Damascus, Ivies Mill, Howards Mill, Crestview, Mayhaw, the community of Cuba there, kind of get the idea under this warning here, just giving you guys a sample of some of those communities under that warning here until about 1:15. The axis moving east at about 40 miles an hour. So again, just gonna keep watching things here with the Doppler radar technology. You can go ahead and see that wind potential again, another mode. Right now it's sounding closer to 50-mile-an-hour winds here, but we can't completely rule out a quick spin of tornado. There's a little bit of rotation there as we're looking. It's not really impressive right now, but a little bit in southwestern parts of Early County. So we'll keep our eyes on that here. We'll definitely keep our eyes on that there in that region. But right now it's not enough for a tornado warning to be issued here. I mean, honestly, these winds have kind of gone down just a little bit, it looks like, over the last few minutes, but don't lay your guard down. They could still be reaching down to the surface enough to cause some damage, causing some of those trees to fall or power lines to fall. So we got to be kind of here making sure you're staying safe out there. Let me go ahead and switch back on over here to a broader perspective. I know we're really watching that accent there as we get out toward Chipley there, Holmes County, also parts of Baker County in Georgia. We were already talking about that accent there. That's where we have the other warning in play with Early, Miller, and Houston. But then in addition to Holmes County, with this warning, we also have Jackson and Washington counties under this warning. So we're going to have to monitor the progress of things here very carefully just to see if this intensifies enough for tornado warning or more severe thunderstorm warnings downstream. In fact, let's go ahead and switch to the other radar mode here. It looks like they're going with a significant weather advisory to the southeast. It looks like from the Eglin side, it looks weaker, which would indicate the winds aren't really getting down to the surface as much. So that could be some good news. I've kind of dumped around. This is from about 30 minutes ago on the view. So you see how it intensified enough, but really it kind of looks a little bit more on the weaker side from the closer radar, which would indicate maybe these winds aren't really reaching down to the surface. So I'm going to check that here from the other radar vantage point here as we continue along. You'll be able to see the wind set up stronger, but that is not necessarily indicative of those winds actually getting down to the surface. Also checking the pattern is U.S. mapping here. And okay, we just got a tornado watch actually issued. So let's go ahead and kind of see what that's all about. They have gone ahead with a tornado watch now because there's enough rotational potential out there. So let's see what we have going here. I know power outage numbers didn't look all that impressive on quick glance there, but we'll get back into that as the day progresses. But we have some information to tell you guys from meteorologist Lance Frank there at the Weather Service in Tallahassee. He's saying severe thunderstorm warning continues for the storm there toward areas there early in northwestern Miller. There is some broad rotation at times that prompted a mention of the tornado possible tag, but nothing more at this time. So that tornado watch was issued here from the Storm Prediction Center to 0Z, which here in the new time, that would get us out till about 8 o'clock tonight, I do believe. So it's a pretty long fused tornado watch here now. It does include some Jacksonville area counties in the Jacksonville region as well. I haven't seen it pop up in our system yet, but it'll pop up on this map here in just moments, momentarily. I'm going to do some things behind the scenes. I can actually get you guys a little bit of a understanding of where this is including here a little bit earlier possibly. So let me check on that. Okay, the mapping. This came out 11 seconds ago on our other source. I can't pull it up here yet, but it'll be here soon. But this includes Tallahassee. This includes Albany, Bainbridge, Valdosta. But it also includes Douglas, Waycross, Brunswick, all the way down there. So even in Hamilton County, Florida, you're under that tornado watch as well now. So just so you guys know, that's kind of the storyline right now. So I get a tornado watch down to 8 o'clock tonight for much of South Georgia, including Albany, Bainbridge, Valdosta, Douglas, Brunswick, St. Mary's there. And then again, Tallahassee and the Big Bend region. We have Crawfordville under the tornado watch at 8 o'clock now. You have areas toward Madison along I-10. You have areas in Hamilton County as well. So hearing more beeps, maybe that's just an update on the tornado watch. It is. That's just latest information for areas toward the north, outside of our area They just put the county description up there for the Atlanta zones. We're talking about Montgomery, Telfair, Toombs, and Willard. But most of those counties would be more toward the south, as we alluded to here. Again, that should be in our system in the next 30 seconds or so. It should pop up on this map here at 105, I would believe. So, again, just checking the latest information. Bear with me here as this kind of gets on out here. And there it goes. You see the tornado watch now on the screen. Again, that's till 8 o'clock. It's in that yellow area there is where we're watching the conditions favorable for some tornadic development getting close to the watch area. Again, just going to keep our eyes on this potential here of tornadic development. So stay tuned. We'll be watching things all day long. This is why we turned the logo red, because of a tornado watch potential coming into play. I know the Jacksonville County just gave us a breakdown here of the tornado watch as well. For their counties, a couple of these in Georgia we don't cover, but in Florida it's Hamilton, and in Georgia they cover Abilene, Atkinson, Bacon, over toward Brantley, Camden, Charlton, Clint's Coffee, Eccles, Glenn, Jeff Davis, Pierce, Ware, and Wayne. So we're going to be watching here throughout the day with this potential for rotating storms. So again, I just got to be aware of that here as the day progresses, with this tornado watch being issued here from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. So just continuing to check some things here in the Weather Center. Georgia right now, 2,464 customers in the dark in terms of power outages. I don't see many in our region though. Up there, and in Florida, I mean, really wouldn't have many in our region at this point. Only 754 customers out in the state. So nothing too noteworthy there yet. I know we really saw it kind of head up toward Leon County on Friday. Hopefully we don't have a repeat. That was a margin risk day though. This is a little bit higher risk, but it didn't always correlate that way one way or the other. And that was a day without a watch in play, and now a tornado watch has been issued here until 8 o'clock. So we gotta be weather aware here. You see that area in the yellow, the big broad area. The boxes are the thunderstorm warnings here in play. Those are the ones that we're tracking as we get out toward Holmes, Jackson, and Watson, and just outside of the area, and then Houston outside of the area, but Baker, Early, and Midland, and Georgia within the area. And we're also being told now the county breakdown for the Tallahassee watch zone, and this many counties. So we'll go ahead and read it to you here. Houston and Alabama, and then Bay, Calhoun, Franklin, Gaston, Gulf, Holmes, Jackson, Jefferson, Leon, Liberty, Madison, Wakulla, Walton, and Washington in Florida. And in Georgia, we have Baker there, Ben Hill, Berrien, Brooks, Calhoun, Colquitt, Cook, Decatur, Daugherty, Early, Grady, Irwin, Lanier, Lee, Lowndes, Miller, Mitchell, Randolph, Seminole, Terrell, Thomas, Tift, Turner, and Worth. So again, we're continuing to monitor the situation. Let's go ahead and just kind of do some more things here on this update. Right now, I'll go ahead and take off our information about the watch and the warnings that are in place. So we'll just kind of see what we have in terms of velocity here on our other source. I want to see if there's a chance here, if it's higher or lower, whether this gets extended to the east. There is always going to be some type of chance here. And Damascus, it looks like seeing winds closer to 53 miles an hour. So definitely kind of right now on the line, or if they're going to extend this or not. Probably closer to 50-50 if they're going to extend this. So just keep that in mind. We'll just continue to watch it all here for you in the Weather Center. You can see here down to the south and west a little more wind divergence going on here with some rotation, but it's showing up higher on here. Lower down, we weren't seeing that as much, and there's a significant weather advisory for more broad areas. So that could preclude a new warning being issued off toward the east, but we'll see. Again, this stuff's kind of marginal here. It's looking a little more impressive. Right when they issued that warning, we had a little bit more of an impressive signature right around Blakely here, developed really quick because things hadn't been looking all that impressive. And we were seeing ones maybe to 50, and then that can get you a little bit of damage, but really saw that surge right into Blakely, that yellow enhanced area there, right around 1240. And then shortly thereafter, right when this was moving to the town, is when the warning got issued. We've seen a few different areas pop out. Sometimes it could just be with the angle of the radar too, making that look a little bit worse than it was. It's a possibility, but because we've kind of seen that fade some here in the recent frames, which is some good news. But we'll just have to continue to watch things here. In the Weather Center, we're trying to protect you. We're trying to protect your friends. We're trying to protect your family here on this Sunday. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date. Seeing if there are any questions here right now. I don't see anything, but if you have any, pass them along, and I'll do my best to answer them for you as we just try to give you guys the very latest information. Again, just trying to see exactly what is going on here this afternoon. I know as I look toward the side, just trying to see here what information we're getting in. It looks like there may be media members saying there's a little bit of rotation there in the storm of western Wilcox, which is just north of our area here. So we'll kind of keep our eyes on that. It's not going to be moving into our area, but if you're watching from just outside the region, then we'll go ahead and look at that just real quick here. And there is some rotation there just south of the community of Pitts here. We'll just continue to watch what's going on there. But that's just some information a meteorologist at a TV station there in Macon is telling us here and telling everybody here in the chat sessions. Again, just kind of keep watching things up there as well. There's a significant weather advisory in play until about 1:15 for that vicinity there. Definitely something to keep our eyes on. It could be an indicator of things to come. So we'll just keep watching things. I know the stuff's kind of invariable in some of its movement here today. Some of this action kind of looking a little more robust at times, a little less robust at other times here. So we'll just kind of see how things go here with the overall pattern, with the overall setup here. Just checking, I mean, where we're at right now. I'm going to pull it up because I think it kind of is impressive, really. We'll go ahead and pull up our other camera source real quick, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We're seeing pretty much blue skies here where we're at toward the east to start looking back toward the west. I mean, that's something. I mean, we are destabilizing some because of that, but we did get pretty cool this morning, which could be a limiting factor because the atmosphere isn't quite as moist maybe. That could kind of limit things. One reason we're under a marginal risk toward parts of north central Florida versus a slight risk. Marginal is 1 out of 5, slight is 2 out of 5. So again, I mean, that is looking like a day just to go outside and enjoy some golf, really, or Gator Nationals or the fair versus something to be concerned with. And I agree if you're in north central, northeast Florida. Keep an eye just in case things moving a little early, but I don't think that's really going to be the case here at this point. You see, again, the blue skies. I mean, that's really impressive there. And again, a little surprising, actually, just to see it that blue from that vantage point. But you can see the trees moving around a little bit, but let me go ahead and go back on over here toward the broad view. You can see here what's going on. We're just gonna keep watching things here from all our different perspectives. We'll go ahead and switch back on over right now to our other mode again. Watching things just east of Damascus there with maybe winds to 58 miles an hour. So that might be enough for them to extend this warning off toward the east and getting those pixels to 58 stored up on our system right now. I mean, it's just barely on that severe limit line, but it may be just enough for them to issue a new warning out toward the east here. 59 miles an hour there showing up as we get in a little bit tighter now. Trying to give you guys an idea of what's going on here. You can kind of see what we're talking about right where the pixel is. There where my mouse is, that's where we're seeing 59 mile an hour winds. So, gonna keep our eyes on that here. Gonna keep watching the situation as it progresses. That's right near State Route 200. So, as we just get a new update now, Collins Road in there, Ray Road, seeing winds there 58, 59 miles an hour, a possibility. So, gotta keep watching, gotta keep tracking. Again, severe thunderstorm warning continuing for the next few moments. They could extend this. It actually only has 1 more minute left on it officially, but again, a new one could be coming out here, unfortunately, which could be including some of these downstream areas in Baker County, Georgia. We're just going to keep watching here. I know we cover Baker County, Florida, Baker County, Georgia. Just it might confuse you a little bit here, but we're talking about our Georgia Baker County for now. So just for reference there, but we're going to see what we're looking at here. I mean, Not getting any damage reports in so far, which could preclude a new warning being issued, but this is a rural zone here, so it might take a little while for the damage reports to really trickle in if there are any. So that's something to keep in mind too. So some different things, one way or the other, kind of on that checklist, whether you want to keep a warning in play for this area or not, and that's going to be a call here that's being made right now by the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. So we're just going to see what's going on there with what they decide to do. Again, this area we'll be watching as it progresses further on in over the next little bit. You can see here that we're part of Jackson County. We're seeing some rotation there southeast of Jacob City. We're going to just watch that progress there. We're just going to keep tracking it here for you as the day goes on. I know we're just checking all of our different sources here the best we can here in the Weather Center. I mean, our models are really having a little bit of a tough time handling some of this because the movement here, I mean, is a little bit faster than what was initially anticipated, which could kind of mitigate some of that threat a little bit more toward the north and west, but other areas a different story. And it looks like they've gone with a significant weather advisory now for this area up toward the north for parts of Houston and Alabama, Baker, Calhoun, Decatur, Dougherty, Early, Grady, Miller, Mitchell, Seminole, North, and Georgia. So we're just going to see what happens over the next few moments. If we don't get anything new here, let me go ahead and wrap it up for the time being, but we'll be on guard. We'll likely have to come back on throughout the day, maybe even into the overnight hours for some of our North Florida, North Central, Northeast Florida zones. This is not just a one-and-done scenario for some of us, depending on how quickly stuff moves. We're going to probably have warnings on and off here, maybe more on and off here at times. So that's something to keep our eyes on here for sure. I'm going to be on guard for you guys watching things. I know checking some things behind the scenes real quick. I know they have FSU baseball in Tallahassee today, and it's on. It's there pretty early in that, but hopefully this stuff will hold off before moving on in. It'll be after the game, maybe when that were to occur, so everybody can kind of get things finished on up there, and the team, the road team Pittsburgh, can get out of there safely. But again, we're going to look at the broad view here real quick. You see not much around Tallahassee right now. It is warm there, though, and that could be an issue later on. There's a tornado watch in play, but if you're at a baseball game right now, maybe watching in between some of the different pitches there, you don't need to just get up and leave or anything just because you're under a tornado watch. You're okay right now in Tallahassee, but keep monitoring the situation, no doubt. That's what a tornado watch means here. But right now, nothing you need to just jump out of your seat for and get home, unless you're maybe in an area, I mean, that you really want to just beat the storms and you're traveling there in an area that could kind of get hit earlier on. If it's depending on the angle of the line, I mean, if you don't want to be out on the road and something where you're traveling really far, but I'm talking about if you live around Tallahassee, then it's not something you need to be in no hurry about. But even if you live further away, you don't want to really get caught out on the roads in the storms, so kind of think about some different things to do if you have a trip that kind of takes you into this, because it's not just going to break up. You probably get into it anyway. So again, nothing to really get too worried about here in terms of having to just leave the game, but keep an eye on the situation, no doubt. But let's go ahead and get back up toward the north. Again, significant weather advisory in play. These are just under severe limits. Most definitely we could get more warnings on these here. We'll keep watching, keep tracking. I think unless we get some information in the next few moments, we're going to wrap it up for now, but we'll be back as necessary here in the Weather Center throughout the day, throughout the night, throughout the overnight, to keep you, your friends, and your family protected. Again, this is a current radar view. You see that yellow area, that broad shading is now a tornado watch. If you're just kind of coming on in, that's what's in play now to 8 o'clock tonight. We're watching many of our zones. They're almost all of South Georgia, and the counties we cover up there are included in that, and in the Big Bend region, most of that's covered, even a little bit further to east, like Hamilton County, into this as well. So kind of keep monitoring things here very carefully. Let's take a look at our satellite imagery real quick. You can see the colder cloud tops aren't necessarily there as much, which could be a little bit of a limiting factor. Again, we talked about how hail wasn't really showing up as much here. I mean, the one storm to the west does have the hail indicated a quarter size, but we're not really getting much in the way of that. Still up here and it's severe, so these storms here are not getting maybe up to the worst possible level of intensity that they could have, but that doesn't mean that you should let your guard down. In fact, we just got a new warning issued, so I guess we're not going anywhere. It looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued now for parts of Jackson County, Florida, as well as Decatur and Seminole in Georgia now until 2 o'clock. So there's your track there. Let me go ahead and see what we have. That's going to be a pretty slow movement, Roy, into South Georgia on that trajectory there because, I mean, we're talking about moving east at 35, but what I mean by that, it's still going to be a little while until it gets in our viewing area. So some of this action here off toward the west anyway, and they're just tracking on into Mariana. There's another storm that's already in that box on the northern edge. That looks kind of strong, but the worst of this is still back out toward the west here. So it's going to actually be a little while until it gets into our area. Let's go ahead and see what we have. It's moving east at 35 miles an hour. So that's going to be another 30 minutes before it gets back into our region, maybe a little bit less than that, but that's something to kind of keep in mind here as well. So you can see here we're monitoring the progress of this. So I think we're just going to keep watching and keep tracking. But I'm going to take a 9-minute break as we gather some more information. I'm going to keep the stream going. For now, I think that's the best plan of action. But we're going to take a little break here to see what's happening. So keep it tuned to Clouds Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date. There's your broad perspective. We have the tornado watch and play now. We have the severe thunderstorm warning and play now for parts of Decatur and Seminole. You still have a little more time in parts of that box, but on the northern edge, you're already getting some storminess. But the severe potential is still generally out just toward Mariana, but it's moving in there east in that easterly direction. So tracking at about 35 miles an hour. So keep it tuned here. We're back in about 9 minutes.
This is a Clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center right now at 1:30, tracking that severe thunderstorm warning there just as we're looking toward the western edge of the viewing circle. We saw another one issued further back west too. That goes there also at about 1 o'clock Central Time there. That's for parts of Holmes, Jackson, and Washington counties. And then the one here further east, Jackson County including, but then not just Jackson County included there, which is outside the viewing area, but then Decatur and Seminole are within the viewing area, so keep that in mind. And that's why we're sticking with this stream for the time being at least. But also, want to let you guys know, I said to the crystal blue skies really here. The nice looking skies here as we look toward central northeast Florida, and I'll do so again real quick. You're getting a little bit of cloud cover in there to start to intrude now, but my point being here about this shot is that you see this here and you think it's okay to be at the beaches, and it is okay to be at the beaches, but the Weather Service wants us to remind you guys that we have a rip current threat, so the spring breakers out there need to be really careful in the water. It's okay to be on the beach, of course, but if you're in the water, you got to be extra careful here as we're looking toward those First Coast beaches. It's a nice day to be out of the beach, and if you're using extra caution, you should be okay. But just got to be thinking about that here because we don't want any tragedies to happen. So just want to kind of reiterate that there with the rip current threat in play. Weather Service in Jackson, we're just mentioning this here in the chat session with the updated rip current statement. High rip current risk remains in effect through late tonight. With the rip currents there, they can sweep even the best swimmers away from shore and into deeper waters, according to the Weather Service. So they're saying swim near not lifeguard there, and if caught in a rip current, relax and float. Do not swim against the current, and if able, swim in a direction following the shoreline. If unable to escape, face the shore and call or wait for help. So just want to remind you guys of that. Here, as you see these nice looking skies in play, the conditions are nice to be outside, but that hidden danger is there. So back to the radar review we go. We have that warning out toward Holmes, Jackson, and Washington counties until about 1 o'clock Central Time there as we're looking toward that region. And then we have the other warning until about 2 o'clock Eastern here for parts of Seminole and Decatur. And our area for the accent moving in, but then also parts of Jackson into 1 Central Time for the accent that's already there. So I know you can see some of those higher velocity values actually more on the northern edge of the box. That's not what they were warning for, but it wouldn't be completely out of the question that we get a severe wind gust even up here, just south of Iron City. I mean, it's still more like 45-mile-an-hour wind, counter road 220 or 224, excuse me, right now, but. We're just going to keep watching that, keep tracking it here in the Weather Center. So, again, we're sitting at 134. This is north of I-10 is where we're looking at this axis there on the Doppler radar technology. We're just trying to see exactly what's going on here with everything that's developing. You see the word Chipley there and Alfred. We're getting some lightning there, so that is impacting I-10 west of our area. But as we look again in our areas north of I-10, we have that danger there of some severe weather potential. So we'll just keep monitoring the progress of things here. I'm going to get a loop together the last 4 hours, and I'll present that to you guys here in just a moment. You'll kind of see the movement of some of this and the genesis here. Some of these different warnings. I think that could be kind of intriguing, a little bit different perspective. You have to see how we warmed up in some spots with our temperatures, and in other places not as much. I mean, which could preclude here the higher end severe weather potential here on this Sunday. So Sunday, March 12, 2023 is where we're at there on the calendar. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, trying to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, your family here. So let's go ahead now and we'll switch on over. You'll be able to see this accent coming into view. You can kind of see what we're talking about here with this potential and with these storms coming here across parts of the area. So definitely something to keep our eyes on here through the rest of the day. But some of these areas haven't warmed up as much. I mean, you see Albany got a 68 earlier on and then a 72, but they jumped a little bit more than that. But then the storms come on through there. And are still coming on through. and they're kind of seeing a temperature be more steady, which could kind of preclude as big of a threat up there in Dougherty County, for instance. So just trying to give you guys that understanding here of what's going on, Roy, here with this overall setup. Again, you saw that tornado watch pop on in the last few moments. So again, that's something to keep in mind. We are watching for rotations to develop in close to the watch area until 8 o'clock tonight, but then that threat could last even longer. There's some discrepancies here in the overall forecast for later on. So keep that in mind. Also, Weather Service wanted to pass along that between 3:30 and 4:30, they think the first line of storms will move through Tallahassee. Now, I know there's been a lot of different changes here from time to time. We're seeing a little bit of scattered action developing with color, but nothing that's too noteworthy there at this point. We thought we might get more development last night out ahead, but the main axis is actually a little bit closer down, and we're getting some different atmospheric parameters that kind of set up on us here. But Weather Service thinks as of now, 3:30 to 4:30 is when the first line will be coming through Tallahassee here. That's not set in stone because this is really kind of an iffy forecast here. With a tornado watch in play, you just got to keep paying attention. I know this is a 4-hour loop. If you're wondering how far back we're going with this, I'll move the map over just a little bit here to show you guys some of this accident that kind of came into the view here. You're just trying to see exactly what's going on here with this. And this has kind of progressed here. We had the warnings here from time to time out toward the west. And again, you can kind of see here not that many warnings in play, really. They've been pretty isolated in nature, but I know further to south you get, we have more energy. And I noticed this in the modeling a little bit last night. You could kind of see how we had more of our values to the south. So the stuff as it evolves more to the south, that could be a little bit more interesting here in terms of getting maybe a tornado threat to develop, maybe toward Tallahassee or something in that general range. So we're going to keep our eyes, unless there's your current view. There's a current view there at about 1:38 there on this Sunday afternoon. Again, just trying to let you guys know what's going on here. We're trying to see exactly what's happening. Again, we have that tornado threat here in place. So just to remember, whenever I hear maybe a freight train noise, that's something that could be problematic for you guys out there for sure. Just be ready to take those tornado precautions if a tornado warning is issued for your area. But it didn't always take tornadoes, again, to be very dangerous or even deadly, like what we saw back on Friday there, where we had winds of 80 miles an hour or so in parts of Leon County, where we ended up having a fatality reported from the damaging winds there with trees falling in the northeast parts of Tallahassee, per se, there in Leon County. You hate hearing about stuff like that. But again, 1:38 at that time right now. We're just trying to see what the Doppler radar presentation is giving us here. We're going to go ahead and see that we got a new warning now. It just came across another source, and on this source as well. This is a new warning now for Bainbridge. So I know it hadn't popped up in chat yet, but it has popped up on our maps now. And it is here for a storm that does have a tornado possible tag on it. So we got to be really careful as we look toward Bainbridge now. This warning goes out till 2:30, so for almost another hour or so as we're looking toward areas like Cairo, Bainbridge, Pelham, Donaldsonville, Wiggum, West Bainbridge, Iron City, Climax, as well as Brinson there, over toward Hanover, Acreage there, even El Dorado, the Decatur County Airport, Harold Still. You kind of get the idea there. Areas under this warning. So I'm going to keep monitoring this. Let's see if we have any better radar view on this one. Tallahassee radar might give us a better view at this point on this. So we'll try to do some radar switching real quick. We'll take us out to a little bit of a broad view for a moment, and then bring us back into whatever radar is closer here. That's what we'll do once that switches for us. I think Tallahassee be a little bit closer at this point now with this polygon and the overall angle. They might be seeing something a little bit more impressive on that view even. I know that's kind of interesting. I know we had a little bit better wind signature on that view on Friday on the Moody radar, even though a little bit further away on that Tallahassee area storm, because just looking at some different things, it was almost getting a little bit of blockage in there. We were having trouble seeing what was going on. But yeah, Tallahassee radar is now closer on this one, and I see what they're talking about. And it just went across here in the chat, a little delayed, but that beep is from what we just saw pop up on the map a moment ago. There is some rotation around Brinson now at about 3,000 feet. So we have to be continuing to watch this here in the Weather Center for something more than just a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued here. Maybe a tornado warning could get issued here if things intensify. There is hail potential about an inch in diameter. So that's something just to kind of be mindful of here as well. Again, let's see if there's any questions from any of our viewers. I don't see any right now, but if you have any, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to answer them here on this Sunday afternoon as we continue live right now here. As I zoom on out a little bit, we watch this action. We continue live here on Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, Cloud Weather, at Cloud Casey on Twitter, at Cloud Weather on YouTube. You can subscribe there and watch the videos there. You may be a little bit easier by doing that. That's free. And then Twitch there, Cloud Weather. And then you have the website, cloudweather.com, where you have interactive radar. If I'm maybe not zooming in on the area you want to zoom in on, that's at cloudweather.com/radar. And you have some other resources there at your disposal as well. So just wanted to give you guys a reminder of that as we continue. Zoom back on in now. Again, there is some weak rotation around Brinson. That's starting to kind of evolve on us a little bit in some of these recent scans from the Tallahassee side. That might be enough for them to consider something a little bit more. I batted up though, and it actually was there some in the northeast box of that other polygon, and then you see it around Brinson. I mean, that may not be quite done enough, but 25 one way, 25 the other. It looks pretty nasty on the color table, but those winds don't actually add up to that much yet. But that could always change here if those start to add up to something more. And that's when a tornado warning could be required here. I don't think that's quite enough at this point, but that could always change again. We have a tornado watch in play until 8 o'clock for many areas here in the viewing circle. So again, let's go ahead and go back on over right now to the broad perspective here. You guys will see what we're doing here in terms of the overall area viewpoint here right now. And you see we have 3 warnings back to back to back. They're all in that one little area there. That's where we have enough of the instability coming together. That's where we have enough of the overall parameters coming together here for some severe weather potential. So we have energy there all over really, but then you have other factors that have to come into play here, and you kind of see those more confined to the south, and those have to kind of add up. It's like ingredients here and a cook and cooking something. So when you're cooking, you kind of get what I mean. So sometimes you're missing some things. You'd rather miss a lot of stuff when you have severe weather. But in this type of situation, we're starting to see some of those come together in certain spots. Other spots it's not coming together. And that's why you see the storms toward Albany, but they're not severe yet at this point, and they may not get there. We'll see. It could strengthen on us, but right now we're not seeing those become severe thunderstorm warned up toward Dougherty County. So not even a significant weather advisory up there. So we'll just keep watching, keep giving you the latest updates here. Again, watching Bainbridge here, I know, tracking this. Moving east at 40 miles an hour, and that means it'll be there in Bainbridge pretty soon. After watching Thomasville, it'll probably be another hour if this gets into your area. You see some of it may kind of miss you guys depending on the overall movement, but I noticed earlier this stuff was kind of dipping a little south. If that were to stay the case, then it might get you guys, but if not, it might be the backside stuff, which is going to be more than an hour away. There, maybe more like an hour and a half. As I kind of plot some more stuff out here in our source, that could be more like an hour and a half away from you guys in Thomasville. So just trying to give you guys the latest updated information right now on this. If you're watching from like Stark, Gainesville, Jacksonville, those severe weather potentials holding off here, shouldn't be here to the evening or overnight. So that's the good news. In Jacksonville proper, talking about Ponte Vedra Beach as well. You have to watch out for the rip current risk if you happen to go to the beach, as we alluded to here just a few moments ago. So we're sitting at 1:45 on the clock with the low red because that thread did become a little bit more significant here as we were watching. Now tornado watch is even in play here until 8 o'clock for many of our counties there in Georgia, many in the Big Bend, and even a few here as we get further on over in North Florida there too. So again, just giving you guys the latest updates. Let's check rotation tracker here. I don't see a lot on rotation tracker, which is some good news. It was sun a little more a few moments ago, so maybe that's a good sign, but we'll see some of this get closer toward the Decatur County Airport here in just a little bit. Just have to monitor the progress of everything as it does evolve. I know rotation track, when you have those reds show up, that's when we become more concerned when they're in the right spot. And we had that a little while ago, just a little bit, but it's not showing up really impressively. Haven't had any damage reports yet either, so that's good news. So some of these areas takes a little bit longer for some of these damage reports to come on in, so keep that in mind. We're just going to keep giving you guys the latest updates, so as we need to. Again, gonna keep tracking stuff around Bainbridge there, and El Dorado. You're getting in some of this right now there in South Georgia, so no tornado warning right now. We're still a few moments away from maybe areas a little bit further over getting into this, but not that far away. I mean, I'll show you guys our indicator here for some of those winds. Let's go ahead and do that real quick, actually. I know we have that in here. We can kind of see that. It'll show up here if there are any gusty winds into 28. And that's about to move actually toward the airport. So that I was going to take a quick break here, but with the worst maybe missing downtown Bainbridge, but getting toward the airport, I may wait a sec just in case here, because I don't think we might even have 5 minutes here before this gets toward the airport. So, and that's where we might have the higher potential for something to become a little more wicked. Excuse me. Just continuing to watch things here. Give you guys the latest information. So again, sitting at 147 here on that clock. Again, watching stuff there near Brinson Air Base Road. So it's about ready to move in right toward the airport right now. This axis there in toward southwestern Georgia. So again, that's what we're kind of down with here as we zoom in, zoom out a little bit here on the Doppler radar view. No active tornado warnings, haven't had any yet. But again, there's a tornado watch input at 8 o'clock. I mean, we're definitely going to be paying attention here to all those radar trends. And one thing I noticed here, I mean, these rainfall amounts started to add up a little bit, 1.5 inches there toward the west. So that's something to kind of watch further downstream here as well. And we just have to continue to watch and monitor the progress of things here on this Sunday afternoon. I know you may have lost an hour of sleep here, or you might have made it up somehow. I know we're normally looking at 12:48 here before this day in terms of the timing, but now it's 1:48 because we lost that hour, and we're now in daylight savings time. So again, just gonna keep an eye on things here. We're in that daylight time. We're just gonna make sure you guys know what's going on here. Let me go ahead and see what else we have for you guys. You can see Waycross at 81, so that's one of the reasons why they're under tornado watch there. Tallahassee at 80, Quincy at 81, so that definitely helps you a little bit in terms of severe potential, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. But again, Albany right now, at least things have been mitigated up there some. A lot of lightning moving in, and we'll see if anything evolves down there a little bit closer to some more favorable conditions possibly. But nothing warned there at this point. I think there's, and I'll double check, yeah, there's a significant weather advisory for you guys there in Camilla. Could get gusts in excess of 40 miles an hour. You see Bainbridge again, you see Thomasville maybe later on. We just watching the progress of this stuff. And let's check the wind direction here. Not seeing too much of a shift there yet, but eventually you do further back behind. I'm looking at the pressure pattern here, sitting at about, it looks like about 1,010 millibars, give or take. Toward areas in North Central Florida, 1,011 millibars at Keystone, 1,008 millibars in Bainbridge there, 1,009 in Thomasville, 1,009 there in Tallahassee. So I'm going to keep watching, keep tracking here. There's a little bit of rotation right near the airport as we touched on, so hopefully there's no damage occurring there. Obviously, be ready to take those tornado precautions and steer your room away from windows if something is trying to occur here. Near that airport there, the Decatur County Industrial Airport. So it's right in that vicinity right now, maybe just right there. To look for debris. I don't see any. We're just getting right in there, the greens and reds right there. I mean, right over it. But those aren't that tight. They're not that tight together, which is good news. Obviously, these are not the most impressive signatures we've ever seen. Not as impressive as some of the signatures we were getting on that storm toward Tallahassee on Friday, whether you look mainly at reflectivity, to be quite honest. It was showing such a just a strong system there with the hail potential. We didn't get the hail threat to develop like the radar was showing, but we had that wind that's come down and just such terrible velocity, really, that ended up causing a fatality, as we've alluded to. So gotta be really careful here. We're continuing to track things. We're continuing to give you guys the latest. I think downtown Bainbridge, the worst of this would probably miss you a little bit, but don't want to be outside because of that lightning potential and some wind potential coming in. So keep that in mind if you're in downtown Bainbridge. Again, we're going to keep watching, keep tracking things. I think we'll go ahead and take a break here for a few moments. I think unless we get a tornado warning here on us in the next few seconds or within the next few minutes, we'll just break back in real quick if we did. But otherwise, I'll see you back here in about, let's say, 9 minutes. So we'll do a 9-minute break here. But if there's a tornado warning issued in that time, we'll come right back on the stream to give you that life-saving, at least potential life-saving information to protect you, your friends, and your family.
This is a Clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center at 2:01 on this Sunday. I know I'm hearing some gusty winds a little bit, but we're out east of Stark, way out ahead of stuff. But not really gusty yet. But you can kind of see here some of those readings there are getting close to about 30 miles an hour or so. So that's something to keep in mind. I know it may be affecting that golf tournament there. Ponte Vedra Beach a little bit, but no severe weather here for the afternoon towards Stark, Gainesville, Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra Beach. That's some good news if you're taking part in those outdoor plans that you might have had. So we'll keep our eyes on things here, though, more off toward the west for the time being. But later on, obviously, we'll be paying attention toward the south and east in terms of the overall threat, by the way. Let's go over to that map here real quick. You can see the slight risk in play. The 2 out of 5 does include areas as far southeast as McClenny there and over into toward Nassau County. So we'll just kind of see what's going on there in terms of that. I know we just got a really big significant weather advisory, though. Let's see what they're talking about with this. This is one of the longer ones I've seen, to be quite honest. So let's see what this is kind of encompassing here a little bit. I know we did just get a couple of new things here in as well on some of our other sources. So let's go ahead and go back to this one. We just got a gust of 48 at the airport. We were just zooming in, so not quite as severe limits, but that's enough to cause a little bit of damage there to maybe some tree limbs or even knock down a tree or a power line, something like that. That's definitely the highest gust we've had reported here today within our area. 40 miles an hour there at the airport there just a few moments ago at the Decatur County Industrial Airport. So keep that in mind. As I know a new warning out toward the west has been issued for parts of Jackson and Washington counties here, and that goes into about 1:30 local time. So we'll keep watching that. And there's a big significant weather advisory in play. This is a really long fused one of the longer fused ones I've seen. I know it's going out there until about, it looks like 3:30. It's only 2 o'clock now, but it goes all the way to 3:30. For Doppler radar tracking strong thunderstorms along the line extending from 7 miles northeast of an area there as we get further on out toward the west, 8 miles northwest there. It looks like of Chattahoochee even. So again, we're tracking this moving east at 45 miles an hour. The winds in excess of 40 miles an hour possible. The Penny-sized hail too. It could eventually get toward FSU and Tallahassee. I'm kind of surprised they issued an advisory out this long like this. Again, it's a little bit unusual for them to do that. So we're just going to keep watching everything here on the Doppler radar. I mean, it's going to take a little while to get to word FSU for sure, as we've alluded to here within our coverage. I mean, looking at some different things here. Unfortunately, the FSU baseball game is kind of taking its time a little bit. So it's this at the end of the third inning. So unfortunately, we were talking about how we were hoping things would kind of maybe hold off here, and they very well still could until maybe the very end of things. But there's a chance that we could, unfortunately, with a slower moving game like that, get things kind of interrupted there before it concludes. So that would be unfortunate here, and might require some special procedural things to come into play. So just kind of keeping that in mind here as we look at some different things. I mean, we're just trying to see exactly what's going on here in the Weather Center. So we were hoping things would get by there a little bit quicker, but I mean, a lot of scoring already there and toward Tallahassee. So we'll just keep watching and keep tracking. But again, you can see out toward parts of Decatur County right now. That lightning is definitely vivid there in toward that region. So keep that in mind. We're seeing that electrical energy, no doubt, some cloud to cloud strikes in there, but also some cloud to ground strikes in there as well. So got to keep monitoring that there in toward that region. Again, that warning going for the 25 minutes or so in that vicinity. Off toward the west here, we have storms. They may have the potential to be a little bit stronger even later on. If things come together just right here, we'll just have to wait and see. As the afternoon progresses on us, we're just going to have to wait and see and watch the progress of things because they can definitely change on us here at a moment's notice. We just kind of have to keep watching all these radar trends here to get a good understanding of what's going on here in the atmosphere with the meteorology of things. We do have that tornado possible tag in there in this storm system here that we're watching north parts of Decatur, Grady, Mitchell, and Seminole counties until 2:30 this afternoon. So again, we're just going to keep monitoring the progress of this here as it progresses across our South Georgia counties. I mean, it could definitely hold together here a good ways based on the overall parameters in place. So that's something you have to be mindful of, something you have to be cognizant of here for sure. Now, I do want to mention as I look here, our wind pattern doesn't look quite as impressive as it did. It could just be the angle we're looking. We'll watch for Cairo. It seems like some of the worst of this may go to the north a little bit, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I know what I'm thinking about doing here, since we don't have just a impressive signature on the Doppler here at the moment, we may go ahead and wrap coverage for a little bit. We'll gather some more information, get some more things together, and be ready to come back on here as more warnings are issued. It's just a situation where we're kind of seeing some signatures that don't look quite maybe as impressive. And then the population density here playing a role as well as we kind of get away from Bainbridge and then kind of in between some of the bigger cities of the worst of this, it appears. But still, take all warnings seriously, no doubt. That's something you have to do in these type of circumstances. So, I mean, we'll just keep watching everything. I know we're watching our camera here. You see it's getting a little bit darker here now as we look back from this dark area toward the west, but we're still hours away from storms here. But we'll keep watching all of our different views, all our different sources here. You're seeing a little bit of lighting develop down toward Franklin County now. That's something to keep our eyes on. And then I do see a little bit of development west of Tallahassee now. It's hopefully that's not a prelude of any issues for the baseball game. That's developing there on our view here, pretty short order, really. I mean, you look back, it was just sprinkled, and now it looks like it wants to be a shower even, or maybe even something with a rogue lightning strike, which would unfortunately delay things there at Dick Howser Stadium. But with the tornado watch in play, there's no imminent threat of a tornado there or anything like that around Tallahassee. So keep that in mind. Don't panic or anything along those lines there. But we'll keep watching and give you guys the latest updates here as necessary. Let's go ahead and look at some different things. I know we have our full Rutger radar on now. It's just showing some little bit impressive rotation here near Alfred. So we'll watch the progress of that. Could be some type of tornado warning in Jackson County there. That's just that side of our 62 county viewing area. But we'll continue to watch things. We won't be on for it if it's outside of the area necessarily. But if it's in the area, of course, we will be on to keep you, your friends, and your family protected. So even from the Fort Rutger radar, we're not seeing a lot. I know it's a little bit higher up in some ways. But we're not seeing a lot in the stuff in South Georgia. So maybe getting kind of disheveled a little bit in terms of the wind pattern. There's a lot of lighting still. Take this seriously. There definitely could be some damage in wind in here, or winds that cause damage. But it's not something that's just overly impressive here at the moment. But it could definitely change. So we're going to be watching. We're going to be tracking. But I think we're going to go ahead and regroup for now and be back here as necessary. We're going to go into stream for the time being. Gather more information here. And if we need to come back on, which is almost guaranteed that we'll have to be back on later on, we'll do it here from the Weather Center. So thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me for now. But keep it tuned to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you like to use for your live streaming. Twitch there's your different options. The 2 Facebook accounts for live streaming, the one on Twitter at Cloud Casey, YouTube at Cloud Weather, Twitch Cloud Weather, and you have the website with all the links there at the top, cloudweather.com. And alerts there, all those coming out from the weather services in Tallahassee and Jacksonville, and the updates too at at cloud_WX. And we have a lot of different things here. You can get that at cloudweather.com though, but at cloud_WX there is the actual auto alert Twitter account. So thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me for now. We'll be back as necessary.